Before animals began to crawl across the land, plants were already reshaping our world. When plants first colonized land over 450 million years ago, they performed one of the greatest planetary engineering feats in history. They transformed our atmosphere, created soil, and established the foundations for all terrestrial life. Without plants, there would be no breathable air, no complex ecosystems, and certainly no humans to make YouTube videos about them. Every breath you take, every meal you eat, every landscape you admire exists because plants paved the way. But here's what most people miss. Plants aren't passive participants in Earth's story. They're protagonists with strategies so sophisticated that they've managed to manipulate the behavior and even the evolution of countless animal species. They may lack brains, muscles, and voices, but plants have been quietly conducting one of evolution's most remarkable symphonies for hundreds of millions of years, recruiting animals as their defenders, pollinators, and transportation systems. In our previous video, we explored how ants shape ecosystems as nature's architects. Today, we'll flip the script and reveal how plants have been covertly manipulating insects and even birds to do their bidding all along. Imagine for a moment that you're a plant. You're permanently rooted to one spot. You can't run from predators. You can't chase down food. You can't travel to find a mate. This is the fundamental challenge that shaped plant evolution. Unable to move, plants evolved extraordinary chemical and architectural solutions. They became masters of indirect action, influencing other organisms to perform vital services for them. This sedentary lifestyle forced plants to become Earth's greatest chemists. They developed over 200,000 different compounds, many specifically designed to affect animal behavior. For context, pharmaceutical companies have developed only a few thousand medicinal compounds. Plants beat our chemical innovation by a factor of 100. Take this bloodroot seed. If you found one on a spring walk in an eastern North American forest, you might notice a small, fleshy white attachment. This structure, called an elaiosome, isn't for the seed's development. It's ant bait, a fatty, protein-rich reward designed specifically to be irresistible to ants. The ants carry the seed underground, consume only the elaiosome, and discard the intact seed in their waste chamber, essentially planting it in a perfect growing environment, rich in nutrients and protected from predators and fire. This isn't an accident. It's a sophisticated manipulation system that plants have fine-tuned over millions of years. This ant-plant partnership, called myrmecochory, has evolved independently in more than 11,000 plant species across 77 families worldwide. In the deciduous forests of eastern North America, approximately 1/3 of understory wildflowers rely on ants for seed dispersal. In fact, it's estimated that 55 to 60% of understory stems are growing exactly where they are thanks to ant activity. So next time you admire spring wildflowers like bloodroot, trillium, or Dutchman's breeches, remember they've evolved to manipulate ants as their personal gardeners. It's a botanical version of Tom Sawyer, convincing others to do his work. Except plants have been perfecting this trick for over 70 million years. Protection is another challenge for stationary organisms. Plants can't run from herbivores, but they've found something better: bodyguards, and they pay them with sugar. These structures are called extrafloral nectaries, extra because they're found outside the flower. They produce sweet nectar that attracts ants, wasps, and other predatory insects. The nectar is a bribe, and the bargain is simple. Here's some sugar. In exchange, protect me from herbivores. Studies have consistently shown that plants with patrolling ants suffer significantly less damage from herbivores. When researchers experimentally remove ants, the plants are quickly attacked and often die. It's like firing your security team while leaving the bank vault open. Scientific detective work has revealed that plants began evolving extrafloral nectaries in the mid-Cretaceous period, around 100 million years ago. But interestingly, ants had already been using plants for habitat and food sources before these specialized structures appeared. Today, nearly 4,000 plant species across more than 100 families produce extrafloral nectaries. That's an impressive example of convergent evolution. where different lineages independently arrive at the same solution. Plants with EFNs have higher diversification rates than their relatives without them, suggesting this ant partnership has been a winning strategy in the evolutionary game. The fascinating part is that many plants can actually increase nectar production when they're being attacked, recruiting more ant defenders precisely when they need them most. And it's not just a simple sugar solution. The composition of extrafloral nectar is carefully tailored with specific amino acids and other compounds that make it particularly attractive to the exact defenders the plant wants to recruit. It's a sophisticated chemical manipulation that makes plants master strategists despite their lack of brains. Reproduction presents another fundamental challenge for stationary organisms. Plants can't travel to find mates or deliver their offspring to new locations, so they evolved multiple ways to move their genetic material across the landscape. We've seen how some plants evolved eleosomes, fatty attachments on seeds that are irresistible to ants, who then carry the seeds underground to safe germination sites. But this strategy has limitations. Ants can only move seeds relatively short distances. Around 90 million years ago, flowering plants developed another remarkable innovation: fruit. This wasn't just a protective covering for seeds. It was an elaborate bribe designed specifically to manipulate larger animals. The strategy is brilliant in its simplicity. Wrap seeds in nutritious, tasty packages that animals want to eat, but design the seeds to survive digestion. The animal gets a meal, and in return, the plant gets its seeds transported potentially miles away from the parent plant, complete with a convenient package of fertilizer. Plants didn't just create generic fruits. They engineered specific fruits to attract specific dispersers. Bright red berries attract birds with good color vision. Large, dull-colored fruits with fermentation scents attract mammals. Fruits that ripen at night often target bats. Some plants took this manipulation to extraordinary levels. Figs evolved an inside-out flower. What we call a fig fruit is actually a specialized structure containing thousands of tiny flowers and developing seeds. They co-evolved with specialized fig wasps that enter through a tiny opening, pollinate the flowers, lay eggs, and die inside. When new wasps emerge, they carry pollen to another fig, continuing the cycle. It's one of nature's most intricate partnerships. Perhaps the most ingenious fruit manipulation involves chili peppers. These plants faced a dilemma. They needed animals to disperse their seeds, but mammals would destroy the seeds by chewing them. Birds, with their grinding gizzards, pass the seeds intact. The solution? Capsaicin, the compound that gives chilies their heat. It binds specifically to mammalian pain receptors but has no effect on birds, who lack these receptors. This chemical innovation selectively deters mammals while allowing birds to eat the fruit without discomfort. It's a remarkably precise manipulation, ensuring only the right seed dispersers are recruited. This strategy worked brilliantly. Before humans began cultivating them, wild chilies had spread throughout the Americas thanks to their bird partnerships. And due to human appreciation for their spicy chemistry, chilies are now grown worldwide. Perhaps the ultimate dispersal success story have been so successful. Some of these relationships ended when the target animals became extinct. Dr. Dan Jansen published a paper in the journal Science postulating that certain plant-fruit extinctions may have stemmed from animal extinctions. For example, the Osage orange targeted mammoths as their dispersal agent. 15,000 years ago, with Pleistocene hunters killing off the mammoths, that partnership ended. Robert E. Cook, director of the Arnold Arboretum, citing Jansen, described the avocado, Persea americana, as an ecological anachronism. However, it has been stunningly successful in attracting a replacement dispersal agent: us. The avocado's seed was designed to be eaten by giant ground sloths and mildly toxic and inedible to other mammals. After the extinction of this Pleistocene megafauna, humans selectively bred avocados for larger, fleshier fruits, ensuring their survival and abundance today. Within the past few hundred years, avocado has been taken from the New World tropics to orchards in Florida, California, northern Mexico, and far beyond this hemisphere. Wild elephants, who raid village fruit trees in Africa, are now planting American avocados on that continent. Beyond bribing animals with food, some plants took protection partnerships even further. They evolved entire housing structures for their ant defenders. These specialized ant homes are called domatia, and they represent one of the most intimate partnerships in nature and harsh weather conditions. In exchange, the resident ants aggressively defend their host plant against herbivores, competing vegetation, and even fungal pathogens. In the savannas of East Africa, acacia trees house colonies of vicious ants inside their swollen thorns. These ants are so effective that even elephants avoid trees with active colonies. Recent research in Kenya has revealed that different ant species provide different benefits to the trees. Some are better at defending against large herbivores, while others help the tree survive drought conditions. When scientists experimentally removed ants from these trees, the results were catastrophic. Within months, the unprotected trees suffered intense herbivory, slower growth, and higher mortality. Trees without ants showed reduced carbon fixation and poor water regulation. It wasn't just about protection. The ants had become integral to the tree's physiology. Fascinatingly, domatia evolved relatively recently compared to other ant plant structures. While plants had the potential to form extrafloral nectaries by the mid-Cretaceous, domatia didn't appear until much later, in the Cenozoic era. This suggests plants and ants developed increasingly sophisticated partnerships over time, with full-time housing being the most advanced adaptation. Dr. Dan Jansen first discovered this ant-plant mutualism in 1961 in Veracruz, Mexico. Noticing an ant chasing a beetle off an acacia, he cut the small sapling and dissected it. Inside, he discovered a colony of ants with a single queen packed into the acacia's swollen, hollow thorns, roaming in and out of chewed-out holes like a busy tunnel during rush hour. When he returned, he discovered the stump of the plant he had brought to the lab, left without ants, had been decimated by herbivores. But just 1.5 meters away, another plant with its ant colony intact was regenerating, with verdant green shoots climbing towards the sky. The ants, Jansen thought, must have returned to the stump and defended it after he dropped the branch. It began to sort of click in my brain, he said. Over the next several years, Jansen would remove ant colonies from some 5,000 acacias, in heavy shade, open sun, by the ocean, and near riverbeds. Each time, the plants, stripped of their defenses, became prime pickings for insects, mice, deer, and any other grazer. Everybody eats the acacias when there's no colony. It's basically defenseless, he said. Jansen's discovery of the first domatia would become one of the classic examples of mutualistic symbiosis. Symbiosis meaning the species live in close association, and mutualistic meaning they benefit from each other. Today, nearly 700 plant species across 50 families produce domatia. Unlike plants with EFNs or elaiosomes, domatia-bearing plants often form exclusive relationships with specific ant species, creating tight coevolutionary bonds. It's like an evolutionary marriage. Once established, both parties become increasingly specialized to accommodate each other. Both partners depend on each other for survival. If plants' manipulation of ants is impressive, their reinvention of reproduction through flowering plants changed the course of Earth's history. For the first 300 million years of plant evolution, reproduction relied primarily on spores or primitive seeds dispersed by wind or water, inefficient and highly dependent on chance. Then, around 130 million years ago, a botanical revolution began. Flowering plants emerged and rapidly diversified in what Charles Darwin called an abominable mystery. Their secret weapon? Outsourcing reproduction to animals. The innovation was brilliant. Instead of releasing clouds of pollen to the wind, hoping some might reach another plant, flowering plants evolved to produce nectar, a high-energy reward with no reproductive purpose except to attract animal couriers. Wind pollination requires producing enormous amounts of pollen, most of which never reaches its destination. Animal pollination is precision delivery, and it changed everything. Ultimate efficiency. This innovation triggered one of the greatest coevolutionary explosions in Earth's history. Today, flowering plants, angiosperms, make up about 90% of all 400,000 plant species, and their pollinators include over 200,000 animal species. The world as we know it, colorful, fragrant, and bursting with diversity, exists because plants manipulated animals into becoming their reproductive partners. The relationship between bees and flowers is perhaps the most successful partnership in nature's history. Plants evolved precise flower shapes, colors visible in ultraviolet spectrum, landing platforms, and nectar guides, all designed to manipulate specific pollinators into perfect position. Bees evolved specialized body parts like pollen baskets, branched hairs, and elongated mouthparts in response. Each was shaping the other's evolution. But some plants took manipulation to extreme levels. Orchids are perhaps the most sophisticated con artists in the plant kingdom. Some species produce flowers that mimic female insects so convincingly that male insects attempt to mate with them, inadvertently picking up and delivering pollen in the process. The plants offer no reward, just deception. It's the botanical equivalent of catfishing. Plants didn't stop with insects. In the Americas, certain plant lineages began producing long, tubular flowers with copious nectar, effectively designing flowers that could only be pollinated by birds with long beaks and the ability to hover. As these flowers evolved longer tubes, birds evolved longer beaks in response. Today's hummingbirds exist largely because plants manipulated their ancestors' evolution. What's remarkable is that on different continents, separated by oceans, plants independently evolved similar strategies to attract bird pollinators. In Africa, sunbirds fulfill the ecological role of hummingbirds, visiting flowers that convergently evolved the same tubular shape and bright colors, a testament to how effective these manipulation strategies are. Many flowers have patterns visible only in ultraviolet light, invisible to us, but clearly visible to insect eyes. These patterns serve as landing strips, guiding pollinators precisely where the plant wants them to go. Plants are advertising in a visual spectrum we can't even see without special equipment. Without brains or nervous systems, plants somehow sense and respond to their environment with remarkable precision. They're not just aware, they're actively engaged in complex chemical warfare and manipulation. When attacked, plants don't just passively accept their fate. They deploy sophisticated chemical arsenals tailored to specific threats. A plant can distinguish between mechanical damage from wind and damage from an insect bite. It can even identify which species of insect is eating it by compounds in the insect's saliva. Within seconds of being attacked, a plant sends warning signals throughout its tissues. Some plants even warn their neighbors by releasing airborne chemical messages or sending signals through underground fungal networks, what scientists have called the wood wide web. These aren't random responses. Plants produce over 200,000 different secondary metabolites, compounds not required for basic growth, but essential for interaction with the environment. Many of these chemicals precisely target specific neural receptors in insects, disrupting their development or behavior. It's like having a customized pharmaceutical lab in every leaf. The manipulation game extends beyond recruitment and defense. Plants have evolved ways to counter-manipulate would-be manipulators. When wasps try to manipulate oak trees by injecting chemicals that force the plant to form protective structures around their eggs, the plants fight back. Recent research discovered by an 8-year-old budding scientist revealed that some oaks have evolved a countermeasure. They produce an elaeosome-like structure on the gall, attracting ants that protect the tree from further infestation. It's a counter-counter manipulation, nature as evolutionary arms race in action. Some plants take manipulation to another level by recruiting predators to defend them. When attacked by caterpillars, certain plants release volatile compounds that attract parasitoid wasps, the natural enemies of the caterpillars. It's like a plant calling an airstrike on its attackers. The wasps arrive, lay eggs inside the caterpillars, and the hatching wasp larvae consume the caterpillar from the inside out. Gruesome, but effective. This chemical ingenuity isn't new. The fossil record shows that plants and their insect partners have been locked in this evolutionary dance for over 100 million years. As insects evolved new ways to attack, plants evolved new defenses, driving biodiversity on both sides. Research has confirmed that plant lineages that evolved specialized relationships with insects, whether for protection or pollination, tend to have higher diversification rates. These partnerships have been evolutionary accelerators, driving the incredible plant diversity we see today. In contrast, interestingly, ant lineages that became dependent on plants didn't show the same diversification boost, highlighting the asymmetric nature of these relationships. The intricate partnerships plants have engineered aren't just fascinating evolutionary stories. They're critical to understanding our planet's future. Today, these ancient partnerships face unprecedented threats. Climate change is disrupting the timing of plant flowering and insect emergence, creating mismatches between plants and their partners. By documenting which insects visit which plants and when, ordinary people with smartphones are helping researchers understand how these partnerships are changing in response to environmental pressures. These plant manipulation strategies also have profound implications for food security. Many of our crops depend on the same pollination services that evolved over millions of years. By studying how plants manipulate their insect partners, scientists are developing new approaches to sustainable agriculture that work with these natural systems rather than against them. Plants' manipulation strategies are even inspiring new technologies. From adhesives based on plant resins to drug delivery systems inspired by seed dispersal, the solutions plants have developed over millions of years are providing blueprints for human innovation. So next time you walk through a garden or forest, remember that you're witnessing one of evolution's greatest stories, a tale of manipulation, cooperation, and adaptation playing out all around you. The plants may appear passive, but they're actually master puppeteers, pulling invisible strings that have shaped the evolution of entire groups of animals for millions of years. Without their evolutionary innovations and manipulative strategies, our world would be unrecognizably different, and certainly far less colorful and diverse. The next time you see an ant carrying a seed or a bee visiting a flower, remember, you're watching the culmination of one of evolution's most successful partnerships, one that's been quietly shaping our planet since before dinosaurs walked the earth. If this journey through plant manipulation strategies has opened your eyes to the hidden genius of the botanical world, be sure to check out our previous video on ants as ecosystem architects. Just click right here. We're developing more videos exploring these incredible evolutionary partnerships throughout Earth's history. Hit subscribe to Gray Matter Spasms and the notification bell so you don't miss these mind-expanding journeys into nature's hidden connections. Thanks for watching, and remember, plants may not have brains, but their evolutionary genius has shaped our world in ways we're only beginning to understand. I'll see you in the next video.